The tale of the Bunnyman goes back many, many years. Originally, it didn't start until 1931, after many murders had already been committed. For verification of the story, you can visit the Old Clifton Library, located in Clifton, Northern Virginia, USA. What I'm about to tell you is entirely true, although I've never seen the Bunnyman. Everyone in Clifton believes it to be true. Quick reference to help you understand the story. The bridge has a one-lane car road passing underneath a dual railroad track, above it within the woods along a gravel road. Back in 1903, deep in Clifton, there used to be an asylum buried deep within the wilderness of Clifton. Pretty soon after the Civil War, people started inhabiting the area, population-wise around 300 or so. It was a very small town. Nonetheless, people didn't like the idea about having an asylum miles down the road, so they all got together and signed a petition stating for the asylum to relocate elsewhere. The petition passed and a new asylum was built, which is now known as Lorton Prison, a temporary facility until convicts are appropriately sentenced. In fall of 1904, the convicts were gathered and piled into the bus, which was to transport them to Lorton. Somehow, during the drive, not too far from where they left, the driver had swerved to avoid something, and the bus had started to tip, and soon was rolling in a terrible collision course. Most of the convicts were injured, but had managed to escape the bus and had fled into the night woods. Later on the next morning, a local police investigation had begun, and they began rounding up the escaped convicts. Hours turned into days, days into weeks, weeks into months. Everyone was recovered after 4 months, except for 2 people, Marcus A. Walster and Douglas J. Griffin. During the search for both men, the police randomly found dead rabbits half-eaten and dismembered every now and then along their search. Finally, they were to find Marcus dead himself by the Fairfax Station Bridge, now known as Bunnyman's Bridge. In his hand, he held a man-made hammer knife tool made with a sharp rock and a pretty sturdy branch as handle. They thought nothing and cared not of how he died, only that they no longer had to worry about him. They had a name for Marcus. Later on, they would realize they had named the wrong person to Bunnyman. Still searching for Douglas, they kept on finding half-eaten bunnies every so often while the search went on. Finally, they were to name Douglas the Bunnyman from then on. 3 months passed by and the police had given up their search on April 7th, 1905. Everybody assumed the Bunnyman was dead by now, if not gone, so they went on with their small-town lives. Come October, people started seeing dead bunnies reappearing out of the blue, and starting to fear the unseen. Halloween night came around, and as usual, a bunch of kids had gone over the bridge that night to drink and do whatever kids their age in the 1900s did. Midnight came around within minutes, and most of the kids had left. Only 3 of them remained at the bridge. Right at midnight, supposedly, a bright light back from within the bridge where the kids was appeared, and less than a couple seconds later, they were all dead, throats slashed, with that same type of tool that was found by the other escapee, Marcus. Not only were their throats slashed, but all up and down their chests were long slashes gutting them. To top it off, the Bunnyman hung both of the guys from one end of a bridge with a rope around their neck, hanging from the overpass with their legs dangling in front of the passive cars. The women were hung the same way on the other side of the bridge. This happened on Halloween 1905. After that, they didn't see or hear anything from him for another year. Halloween 1906 was approaching, and parents as well as the teens in Clifton still remember the incident that had occurred 1 year ago at the bridge, his bridge, Bunnyman's Bridge. That night, 7 teens were left remaining before midnight at the bridge. Thinking little of it, 6 remained inside the bridge, while one, Adrian Hatala, had remained a good distance from the bridge, hoping to have enough time to escape if the same thing happened again. Midnight, she witnessed only this, a dim light walking the railroad track right before midnight, stopping right above the bridge at midnight, then disappearing at the same time as a bright flash was inside the bridge. She heard the deafening sounds of horrific screams coming from the inside of the bridge that lasted only seconds. 5 seconds later, they were all hung from the edge of the bridge, same style as the corpses a year earlier. Horrified, she ran home. She didn't tell of everything she saw, just spattered words here and there that some of the folk put together to come up with her story. No one understood it, or even believed her. They charged her with the murder and locked her up in the asylum of Lorton. In 1913, the same thing happened again with 9 teenagers this time. Adrian was still locked up. They dropped her sentence, but it was too late. The insanity had finally conquered her. Even if she was released, she was too far gone to have a decent life, so she spent her remaining years in the asylum until she finally died in 1953 of shock. No one knows what exactly she died in shock from, but supposedly she died in her dreams, dreaming of that one dreaded night. Perhaps the Bunnyman had finally gotten to her. More murders would take place, however, although after the murders in 1913, most people stayed clear of the bridge on Halloween. 1943 rolls around, and 6 teenagers go strolling out on Halloween. A couple hours later, all of them dead, same way as all the others. Investigations took place, but as usual, nothing was discovered. 1976, the same situation occurs, this time with only 3 people. The only other incident that occurred since then was in 1987, 12 years ago. Janet Charlatier was enjoying the night with her 4 friends. Halloween night had finally come, and they had gone driving out to enjoy the night after invading the children's candy bags. They had settled around 11 at the bridge, waiting for midnight to come. They didn't believe in the myth, so they decided to see it for themselves, and were bound to be the only ones who actually withstood the Bunnyman. They had waited around 55 minutes or so, almost at midnight, until Janet started getting a little scared. They all had been pulling pranks on each other, jumping out the bushes and screaming, so she was already a little worked up. Midnight hits while she is completely freaked out. She's almost out of the bridge when the lights get really bright inside the bridge. When that happens, her body is halfway outside the bridge. She sees her skin start tearing out her chest, but nothing piercing her skin. She manages finally to exit the bridge. Completely horrified, she hits a hanging body and knocks herself out. When she awakens, she finds out her hair has turned white and she has been bleeding. She was lucky that the cut had just started and wasn't very bad at all. She left and never returned to the bridge again. She has been sitting on a swinging bench on her balcony every morning, just staring in the direction towards the bridge a couple of miles down. To this day, you can still find her on that bench every morning. From then on, the story dwells untouched and unmoved. Halloween night, you will find a bunch of people hanging around the bridge, drinking, smoking up, but within minutes of midnight, everyone leaves. It's like that for the past 5 years that I have visited the bridge on Halloween night. Even if it's not Halloween night, any night you go there, you will feel the presence of death awaiting the night sky of Halloween, yearning for more blood to be spilt in the name, his name, Bunnyman.